Archaeology has always been something alluring. It is still something to watch how Sherlock Holmes solves another mystery. The evidence is all there, underground, you just need to find them and identify them correctly. While archaeology is often accused that it's stealing attention from labor historians. But this is not surprising, because only one finding of the remains of the body of Richard I.E. in the parking lot of Leicester in 2014 at once seared entire generations of academic research. In this article, we will not touch on the findings relating to inappropriate artifacts, and list the 10 most strange of scientifically confirmed archaeological discoveries. That this does not become less bizarre.
-10. Lloyd's Bank coprolite. Coprolite, fossilized human excrement, was named Lloyd's Bank because it was found on the site where in 1972 in the British city of York was going to build a branch of the bank. Coprolite was dated to the Viking Age, and it's hard not to feel sorry for this man or woman from whose body it came. Its dimensions are huge, -20 cm in length and 5 cm in width. These are some of the largest human coprolites in history. And besides this, unfortunate also suffered from worms. In the feces were found hundreds of eggs, Vlasiglaf, parasitic worm living in the large intestine. However, the study of coprolite gave scientists a unique opportunity to study what ate the usual Viking of the time when he sailed to conquer England. It turned out that he ate a lot of grain, and mainly in the form of bread and porridge. At the moment, this coprolite is stored in the Viking Museum Jorvik Viking Center in the same city.
-9. Oak bark shield. In 2015, archaeologists working in the British county of Leicestershire discovered a unique discovery for Europe, a shield made of tree bark from the Iron Age. The shield was made in 395-255 years BB and turned on the head all representations of the shields of the time. Until this specimens, it was thought that such hoardings were too unreliable and were used maximum for training facilities, but not in real battles. The same shield was badly worn and survived about 10 years of active use. When archaeologists have tried this technology to recreate a shield of modern bark, it turned out that it is so strong that can withstand even a hit of arrows. And at the same time, it was much lighter than a metal shield or a traditional wooden one.
-8. Buddha in ancient Sweden. We all now know that the Vikings did not come, even in the future America, and including were in Ireland, Russia, Baghdad and Egypt. However, the findings on the Swedish island of Helgö still surprised archaeologists. In ancient times, Helgö was a large trading village of the Vikings, and there were taken goods from around the world. Somehow they got in Buddha statue, and even elegant decoration of the Irish church, and a scoop from North Africa. With the decoration and the scoop, everything is clear, but how did the Buddha statue get there? Did the Vikings reach India? After all, this statue is Indian and more than that, from Kashmir. According to scientists, the statue was obtained as a result of an exchange with traders from Russia. As the Slavs got this statue is another mystery of the Middle East. Another version takes into account that some Vikings could be hired in other countries and could even visit Constantinople, and some were there they took this statue and
-7. Ancient Egyptian tobacco and cocaine. One of the strangest archaeological discoveries of the last 30 years happened in Munich, Germany, in 1992, when Drive. Svetlana Balabanova worked with the Egyptian mummy from Bavaria and conducted a chemical analysis of the substances contained in it. To her surprise, Svetlana found traces of nicotine, tobacco, and cocaine in the mummy. In ancient Egyptian times, both of these substances could only be found in America. Since that year, many versions have been proposed of how these substances came to ancient Egypt and how they ended up in the body of a mummy. Someone even claimed that in those years related to coca plants were in Europe and that the extinct sylph is just it. However, later it was assumed the probability that the ancient Egyptians still could swim on their boats to the Indians of ancient America. For example, take the description of complex sea journey of the Egyptian queen hatched to the mysterious country of Punt. Her location is not established. And also the fact that the Egyptians had excellent seaports and many large ships. In particular, they had a vessel in length 21 meters, which could carry 200 people at once.
-6. The Govan stones. Govan stones are one of the most unusual artifacts from ancient Britain. It is believed that they were created in the era of the Kingdom of Strathclyde, about 870 AD. In the 19th century, when they were dug out of the ground and collected in one place, there were 46, but now there are only 31. The rest were accidentally destroyed in 1973. The stones represent the carved stone, sarcophagi, or the coffins and found in Cumbria, Scotland and parts of Yorkshire. Stones are skillfully decorated with various patterns and images of animals. Each stone weighs half a ton. It is assumed that they buried the bodies of the nobility and the king's entourage. Although Delhi remains themselves is not specified anywhere.
-5. Roman rock carvings in Scotland. In the early 200s AD, the Romans worked in a stone quarry in Cumbria, cutting down stone for the construction of Hadrian's mills. And in between jobs they chatted, cut down on the wall messages. First, these inscriptions found in the early 16th century, but then twice has reported them in the 18th and 19th centuries. At the same time, nowhere was it indicated what inscriptions were there, and by the 20th century, when real scientists took up them, the inscriptions were very much affected by erosion. In the 1980s, the approaches to the rock, where the inscriptions were, collapsed, and now to see them, it was necessary to go down to 9 meters. Fortunately, in one of the last descents, archaeologists have made three-dimensional models of these records, and now it remains only to study them. According to the translations, the Romans just wrote their names and positions, and there was a caricature of someone, probably their boss. While a drawing of a penis were also there, of course.
-4. The Orkney Temple. Before the arrival of the Picts, Orkney Islands in the northeast of Scotland were sparsely populated, but even earlier, in the Iron Age, there was one of the most developed settlements in Britain and Scotland. Dating and destiny discovered here, the ruins still contested and lively discussions. The whole place is officially called Ness of Braga, which is a close cluster of buildings made of stone. The largest and most mysterious structure is the archaeologist's code name Structure 10. In length it was 27 meters and in wide 20 meters. By the standards of the Iron Age, it was a giant structure, and if we consider that the walls here were 5 meters thick, then the imagination will begin to draw the fortress of the Lord of the Rings. Dates indicate that the building was about 3300 BB, that is, this temple more than 5,000 years. Another mystery is that despite the thick walls, the interior of the building was only 6 meters long. What was here, no one knows, maybe some kind of relic. Here were found fragments, which probably are the remains of furniture, but it is only presumably. Another impressive detail was the local roof, created from a variety of stone slabs, stacked rectangles. But what was the whole complex as a whole, it is difficult to say. Scientifically it is called the temple, but it has not yet been proven that it was a religious place.
-3. The tomb of Philippi the Arab in Bulgaria. In the landscape of modern Bulgaria you can find many ancient mounds that look like small neat hills. They often dig black diggers, looking for rare artifacts and gold treasures. Annually on the black market in Bulgaria sell artifacts worth $1 billion. Because of this, legal archaeologists began to actively excavate, and in 2018 they dug the Mound Maltepe, the largest in the country. And inside I found something that was much more valuable than gold, a large burial Roman times. Now it is believed that in Bulgaria found no more or less, and the mausoleum of the Roman Emperor Philippi Arab, who lived in the 3rd century AD. Unfortunately here, too, once visited black diggers, archaeologists have found their tunnel. But inside the tunnel were found coins of the time of Suleiman, that is, the tunnel was dug in the 16th century. At the same time the whole tomb was not looted, and archaeologists found here a lot of coins and ceramics. The remains of the emperor himself have not yet been found, but excavations are still underway.
-2. Neanderthal glue. For a long time it was believed that the Neanderthals were quite dull branch of man and could not be compared with the clever Homo sapiens, but studies in recent years have repeatedly proved that this is not so. Including a very recent discovery, which got into the media in June 2019. Archaeologists have found that Neanderthals used a special glue in the manufacture of tools. The glue was made from pine resin and beeswax. The mixture was kept on high heat, and then applied to a wood or bone handle, before fixing a stone on it.
-1. England's oldest houses. In archaeology, when excavating the remains of dwellings, there is a concept of people's threshold. It means the age of the oldest house of ordinary people. While castles and various temple buildings have stood for millennia, the homes of ordinary people were generally made of less resistant material and rarely survived to the present day. In England, the people's threshold is usually estimated at the end of the 17th century. It was believed that the houses built earlier just have not survived, because for a long time crumbled or were demolished. However, a 2013 study showed that this is a misconception. In Wales and the west of England were found houses that were built in the period between 1260 and 1550 years, that is at least 100 years earlier.